Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's virtual launch of the Standard Chartered Women in Technology Incubator. My name is Wei Adokwe, and I'm your host for this morning. In the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, we're going to be listening to a lot, learning a lot, and most importantly, we are going to introduce to you what Women in Tech is all about. We are live on Facebook and Zoom. I'd like you to share the link, invite as many women as possible to join us today. As we go on, we're going to learn a lot, as I've already said. And today, SCWIT started in 2014 in New York as a local program. 6 years down the line, we have crossed the borders. We are currently running live in countries like Nigeria, Zambia, Pakistan, US, UAE, and today in Ghana, for the first time, one of a kind, we are having an incubator that is both women-focused and technology-focused as well. Now, Standard Chartered Bank is not doing this alone. They are collaborating with the Ghana Innovation Climate Center, GCIC, of Ashesi University. They have deemed it important to provide incubator services to women-led and women-owned businesses who are trying to use technology to broaden their business scope. You may be asking me today, why women in tech? Why are we focusing on this? Walk with me while I go to the screen to share with you some statistics. We found out that 3 out of every 10 business owners are female. That is globally. In Ghana, we know that 46% of women are startup women owners. We also know that in 2018, less than 20% of all jobs in technology were held by women. Currently, less than 20% of all executive positions in Silicon Valley were held by women. 74% of girls have expressed a desire for a career in technology. 58% of women are concerned about the venture capital funding gap. And this is rightly so, because in the next statistic, we will find that in 2016, only $1.46 billion were invested in companies with female leaders. However, meanwhile, companies with male leadership earned $58.2 billion in investment, and that is a big one. And for these reasons, that is why Standard Chartered Bank has collaborated with GCIC to provide the incubator services for women-led businesses, to provide the funding that they require to grow their business. I'm not by myself today. I have a host of speakers on Zoom who are joining me. I would like to acknowledge their presence. We have in person on Zoom, Her Excellency Judge Professor Ekia Kwenyehia. She is the non-executive director for Standard Chartered Bank Ghana Limited. We are grateful to have you join us today. She is also our chairperson. Also, for our keynote speaker, we have Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji. She is the second deputy governor for the Bank of Ghana. Again, Madam, thank you so much for joining us and being part of this program. We also have with us Olga Arara Kimani, Regional Head, Corporate Affairs, Brand and Marketing, Africa and Middle East. Now, Olga has been key and instrumental in implementing the Women in Tech initiative in Standard Chartered Bank within our markets, Africa and Middle East. We are also joined by Ruka Sanusi, Executive Director, Ghana Climate Innovative Center. Ruka is a strong advocate for supporting women businesses. Thank you also for joining us. We have with us Rosie Finn, Chief Executive Officer for Busy Ghana. She's a forefronter that comes out in empowering women through STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, to kick off the whole program, I would like to introduce to you the lady who will be giving us our opening remarks. She is in the person of Mrs. Mansa Nete. Now, Mrs. Mansa Nete is the Chief Executive of Standard Chartered Bank. Mansa is an experienced finance professional with a background in corporate banking, financial and capital markets, and enterprise management spanning over 20 years. She is driven by passion for developing the next generation of leaders. Mansa has been named as one of the top 100 women CEOs in Africa in support of the UN Sustainable Development Goals by Reset Global People. Mrs. Mansa-Nettey, thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours to give us our opening remarks.
Thank you, Wei, and good morning to everyone. And thank you for joining us today. Professor Mrs. Kwenye here, Board Director, Standard Chartered Bank, Ghana. Mrs. Elsie Edu Awadzi, Second Deputy Governor, Bank of Ghana, and our guest of honor for today's program. Dr. Patrick Ewa, founder of Ashesi University, our implementing partner. Olga Arara Kimani, the Regional Head and Corporate Affairs, Brand and Marketing, Africa and Middle East, Standard Chartered. Ruka Sanusi, Executive Director, Ghana Climate Innovation Center, Ashesi University. Rosie Finn, CEO, Busy Ghana, and all our guests and clients who've joined us virtually this morning. Good morning to you again. And thank you for honoring our invitation to launch the Breakthrough Standard Chartered Women in Technology Incubator Program. As a bank, we are committed to working together for sustainable prosperity that benefits everyone for the long term. This is core to our promise of driving commerce and prosperity through our unique diversity. And it gives us the opportunity to look beyond the obvious and challenge the status quo. We aim to deliver sustainable prosperity in line with our brand promise to be here for good in the following ways. To be a force for good for our clients by using our core business to promote sustainable development while managing the environmental and social risks associated with our financing activities, which provides access to infrastructure, addresses challenges such as inequality, human trafficking, and climate change, while enforcing good business practices for our suppliers and clients. Second, to be a force for good for our employees through our valued behaviors and code of conduct to enable us make the right decisions that enforce good practices, ethical behaviors, and good governance. Third, to be a force for good for our society by sharing our skills and expertise and developing community programs that transform lives. Through our Future Makers program, we are removing the barriers to opportunities that face young people in our communities. Our GOAL program focuses on promoting financial education and equality for young women, while the program we are launching today supports female entrepreneurs. Apart from reinforcing our brand promise to be here for good, the launch of the Women in Technology Incubator Program affirms our commitments to empowering women by bridging the gender gap and the digital divide in Ghana. This initiative will directly support startups, micro and small scale businesses. It is well known that SMEs are the engine of growth for every economy. Comprising about 95% of all businesses in Africa, SMEs form the largest sector that supports economic activity and job creation. In Ghana, SMEs represent about 85% of businesses, contribute about 70% of our GDP, and account for just over half of all full-time employment, with a much higher percentage in the informal sector. SMEs are expected to be critical enablers and beneficiaries of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And as we empower female-founded and led businesses, Standard Chartered is playing a crucial role in accelerating progress towards achieving the SDGs. This launch will afford us the opportunity to support the development of women-led SMEs, which are likely to have been disproportionately impacted by the effects of this current pandemic ongoing. Globally, studies show that sub-Saharan African countries have the highest number of women entrepreneurs, and research shows that Ghana has the second highest number of women business owners. However, while engagement in the early stage entrepreneurial activity is high, the motivation to be innovative and grow the businesses exponentially tends to be lower than the global and regional averages. Additionally, female-owned and led tech startups still have some of the lowest numbers across the continents, and hence the need for a program like this. Research further shows that women lack access to the internet and technology and are further marginalized by institutional barriers to accessing finance. It is our belief that this program will provide the platform for women-owned and led businesses to tap into opportunities offered by technology adaptation to enable their businesses thrive in the post-COVID-19 digital world. It recognizes the enormous potential for leveraging technology and new business models to drive economic growth and development, and will provide the tools and skills needed by women-owned and led businesses and tech startups to scale up, as well as provide a safe and conducive environment for their learning. Consistent with our community engagement programs, our staff will be deeply involved in this by providing mentorships to startups, helping them scale up, and equipping them with skills that are necessary to thrive in the post-COVID world. Collaborating with our implementing partner, Ghana Climate Innovation Center, and Ashesi University Business Incubator, whose understanding of the Ghanaian entrepreneurial ecosystem, expertise, and commitment to excellence is distinctly complementary to Standard Chartered Bank's values and brand promise, here for good. We look forward to all that will be accomplished through this initiative, including redefining entrepreneurship. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has joined us for this very significant event. Wei, back to you.
So very much, Mrs. Manson-Nete, Chief Executive of Standard Chartered Bank Ghana, for those opening remarks. Now to my audience on Facebook, please be reminded we are also on Zoom. It's a virtual launch. Kindly share the link, invite as many women-led business owners that you know of. Let them join you to listen to what we have to offer them as well. I will now move on to introduce the rep from GCIC in the person of Ebenezer Bachman. He's the Director of External Relations and Special Assistant to the President of Ashesi University. He will give us his notes on introduction to SCB Ghana WIT Incubator. Mr. Ebenezer Bachman.
Yes, hello everyone.
Great.
I hope you can hear me well.
Very well, thank you.
Great. So I send Patrick sends his regrets. He has been unwell over the past week and was unable to make it this morning. But from all of us at Ashesi, we think this is an extremely exciting partnership. It's you know, when we first learned about the reach out and the work that was being done to establish the Women in Tech Incubator, we recognized very quickly that it very much aligns with Ashase's philosophy and the advocacy we have been also engaged in since our inception almost 19 years ago, to bring more women to the table and to support more women across the work that we do and across all the spaces that we work in. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Ashesi, the mission of the university since we started has been to educate ethical entrepreneurial leaders in Africa. And our thinking has been that if you take pretty much most of the problems you'd see across the world, but especially in Africa, you would find that really the key driver to helping address some of these things is strong leadership. And leadership to not only help think through the complex problems, but help inspire teams and help inspire people to move towards addressing some of the very aggressive problems we face. And, you know, with this program, there are two key ways in which we align with Standard Chartered and other partners on this. And the first is around philosophy of entrepreneurship, the idea that helping people develop the skill to solve complex problems and helping people think like problem solvers is key to moving and to progressing Ghana and our continent at large. And since inception, you know, I think roughly 1 out of every 25 of our graduates has gone on to start their own businesses at Ashesi. But beyond our students and our graduates starting their own businesses, we've also been very intentional about helping students see themselves as entrepreneurs, regardless of where they find themselves. So even within established businesses, you find that Ashesi graduates are known for helping champion new initiatives, new ideas, and new businesses. So this excitement about entrepreneurship and this interest in helping grow more entrepreneurs is one that we've held very dearly at Ashesi for a while. But also gender equity has been a key philosophy for the work we do. And when you think of the fact that higher education institutions and higher education classrooms serve as a key pipeline over the long term to different leadership spaces in the continent, we have been publicly and very openly advocating for higher education institutions to prioritize gender balance, to prioritize gender inclusion in the classroom and across the leadership of higher education institutions. And so at Ashesi today, out of our over 1,500 graduates, nearly 1,200 students, we have been able to maintain a one-to-one gender ratio, an almost equal 50-50 split between men and women in our classrooms. But also, when we first established our engineering program in 2015, we were, I think, one of the very first engineering institutions in Ghana to publicly state that a goal for our program would be to ensure that we hit gender parity within our engineering program, with the recognition of sort of some of the statistics that have been shared, the recognition of the imbalance in technology and in STEM and in engineering across the world. So we decided that gender balance within the classroom is going to be a key metric for our recruitment program and for our engineering classrooms. Today, we have 40% women in our engineering classroom, and the plan is to still aim for the 50-50 split. And I was very, when the call started, I did notice, rightly so, that I was going to be the only man speaking on this program. And so I saw that and I said, yes, more of this, because if you joined a lot of panels, you'd always see it almost always tip the other way. So I am honored to be amongst an incredibly distinguished group of women. And I promise to speak very briefly and then step off and get out of the way. But I think the Women in Tech program from the that has been is being launched today it's important. And if you've paid attention to some of the news that has come out of this year around COVID and around the challenges that COVID is going to bring in the years ahead, there's very clear evidence that women-owned businesses and women-led businesses have been very adversely affected, more so than businesses led by men. And so I'm sure this program was conceptualized and the thinking around it had started long before COVID came. But COVID has made it even more urgent for the world that we are about to move into over the next years. And I'll share a story from Ashesi as to why having women in STEM spaces can be extremely important. This year, roughly a few weeks ago, a story was on the Ashesi website about a woman who had won a German science competition and was going to represent Ghana at a virtual event being hosted from Berlin for the Berlin Science Week. And her project had been one that she had worked, she's an Ashesi student. Her project had been one that she had worked on over her senior year on campus. And she had taken her experiences, seeing and hearing from and listening to women who had had preterm babies, and so babies who were born prematurely, and some of the challenges that they had faced, especially in parts of rural Ghana, where it's very expensive for women in rural Ghana to be able to pay for incubator services. And a lot of mothers were losing their children because they just couldn't afford the hospital care. And a lot of hospitals in rural Ghana just didn't have enough equipment to support preterm babies. And so she came to Ashesi, did engineering, and in her final year, she decided that the problem she was going to tackle was developing a low-cost incubator that could basically be sent to different homes for women who had preterm babies to be able to provide healthcare for their babies at home and with the support of doctors. And this, she called it the IncuCrib. It serves as an incubator, but also provides different needs for the baby. It's able to communicate electronically to a doctor's device, providing statistics for the baby and how the baby was faring. And she had built it, very small prototype. And her goal is to be able to deploy this in a very strong way to different rural parts of not just Ghana, but Africa, if she's able to be able to support mothers. And when you think of this problem that she took on to solve, in all my experiences at Ashesi, if you talk with the men in our engineering program, you never find men who are thinking of solving problems for mothers with preterm babies, or who are thinking of solving, as one student did, designing a device that could hang clothes, and when it started to rain, retract and cover the clothes so the clothes wouldn't get wet. The women in our engineering program, you find, have been able to bring a unique perspective on problems that exist within our homes, our workplaces, our communities, our country, that you often wouldn't find the men in the classroom paying that much attention to as they think through the projects they develop. And so we've seen in a very clear way that when you empower women and you bring women into skills and capacity building, and you sort of give the same opportunities that for decades now men have been afforded that women have not been, we find that it's not only beneficial to women, but it's beneficial to everyone, to both men and women, because the perspectives we see being introduced are, just generally important for the progress of society. And so the Women in Tech Incubator and its mission to support women-led businesses in technology, inspire more women-led businesses in technology, I think is going to be transformative in so many ways. And from all of us at Ashesi, I think we're extremely grateful to be part of this journey. And we hope that this partnership is one that will last for a long time. We hope that it's one that will inspire other institutions and other organizations to also engage in the challenge of helping bring more balance across all the different organizations and spaces we work in. And I couldn't think of a better partner or better partners than the GCIC and Standard Chartered to make this happen. And I really look forward to the rest of the event. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be the lone man on this panel. And I'm really excited to listen to everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bachman. Thank you also for accepting our invitation to be here. We are very inspired by the story you shared of your students who produced the, if I got it right, the incubator that acts as a crib as well. That is amazing, and we wish you all the very best. Now we'll be moving on to our keynote address. Let me give you a bit about the person behind who will be giving us the keynote address. Now, she's a legal and governance and international finance professional with over 24 years of professional experience in Ghana and globally. She has oversight responsibilities for the regulation and supervision of banks and other licensed financial institutions, financial stability, and a number of other key areas of bank operations. She has also been a senior counsel of the IMF's legal department, where she worked for 6 years, advising IMF member country authorities in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, Europe, and the Middle East on banking sector regulatory reforms, banking sector crisis management, and public financial management reforms. We are honored to have the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana in the person of Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji to give us our keynote address.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, excellent. Her Excellency, the Chairperson, Justice Professor Ikea here, who happens to be one of my all-time favorite professors from law school, members of the board, the Chief Executive Officer, and the management team of Standard Chartered Bank, the President and the Vice Chancellor of Ashesi University and his representative, the Executive Director of the Ghana Climate Innovation Center of Ashesi, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to have been invited to deliver the keynote address for the launch of the Standard Chartered Bank Ghana's Women in Technology Business Incubator Program. It's a bit of a mouthful, so I call it the WIT program. I hope that's okay. The theme for this program is technology, gender, and development, expanding the role of technology in women-owned businesses for national development. Madam Chair, I bring you all warm felicitations from Governor Ernest Addison, the board and management of the Bank of Ghana on this very important occasion. Standard Chartered Bank, as we all know it, has operated in Ghana over a century, making significant contributions to Ghana's banking landscape, as well as its capital market, as a catalyst for private sector-led economic development in Ghana. Standard Chartered Bank continues to show leadership as it empowers its key stakeholders to play their respective roles in nation building. The WIT Business Incubator Program, which is in collaboration with the Ghana Climate Innovation Center of Ashesi University, is one of many ways in which Standard Chartered Bank is living up to its pledge of being here for good. Here for good, not only because it's been here for over a century and continues to remain here in the long run, but also here to promote good for its key stakeholders and good for Ghana's socioeconomic development more generally, in every way that it can, using its market power as a bank and a corporate institution in Ghana. I am very happy to note that the WIT program has a special focus on enabling women-led and women-owned businesses leverage technology and business incubation support to grow their businesses. This is part of Standard Chartered Bank's efforts to promote diversity through innovation and to provide more opportunities for women to develop entrepreneurial excellence, while more generally influencing dialogue at the national level in terms of how we grow our economy in an inclusive manner to support our sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, all of this is happening against the backdrop of women lagging behind their male counterparts in a number of important areas, which I'm going to be mentioning in a minute. These areas include in the area of science and technology, engineering and math, the so-called STEM education, in the area of the use of technology in their everyday lives, as well as in their businesses. So there's some research out there to show that women tend to use these less, even when they're available. And also women lag behind in terms of access to finance for their businesses. And lastly, women lag behind scaling up their businesses compared to their male counterparts. So these are 4 key areas where this program launch is occurring at a time where women lag behind their male counterparts. While Ghana's private sector is dominated by women entrepreneurs, second only to Uganda, according to the 2019 MasterCard Index of Women Entrepreneurs, research continues to show that women-led businesses tend to remain smaller and less profitable compared to those led or owned by men. Women also account for less than 45% of entrepreneurs in the 5 most productive sectors of Ghana's economy, according to MasterCard. And these are financial services, ICT, manufacturing, transportation, oil and gas. In spite of their significant contribution to economic development, women lag behind male counterparts in access and finance, as I alluded to much earlier on. Globally, there is a 9% gap in access to finance for women, according to the World Bank's 2017 Global Findex survey. According to the same report, in Ghana, women lag behind their male counterparts by 8% when it comes to access to finance. No doubt, without access to critical funding, women-owned businesses tend to suffer and struggle to create the scale that is needed to remain competitive in today's marketplace. The African Development Bank reported in 2019 that the gender gap in access to finance around the world constitutes about $1.5 trillion in terms of financing gap globally. And in Africa, 70% of women are actually financially excluded. And many of these are trying to start or grow a business or remain in business. What is more, Ghana's population is made up of 56% of youth, according to data from Index Mundi. Of this number, about 50% of this number constitutes females. So not only are there more women in Ghana, not only are there more women in business in Ghana, it turns out that a lot of these women are also youth. And so this also sort of escalates the problems that women face in business to a whole new level as you think of the many challenges that youth face in our country as they try to start out a business, as they start to grow their businesses, and in particular because a lot of youth are outside the job market and are just trying to survive, but with very little support. The distributional effects of the ongoing pandemic on women and the youth are also quite pronounced because, as I said before, a lot of youth are already outside the job market or are in very small micro businesses that they're trying to start or grow without much support. And very much the same as women who tend to work in the informal sector, in part-time jobs, or when they start a business, are trying to do things, pull up themselves through these businesses with very little support. And so these are the biggest, if you will, these are being at the receiving end of the pandemic in ways that are not proportional compared to, say, their male counterparts or more adults in the economy. And therefore, it is incumbent on all of us, in particular, the private sector to begin to think of how do we retool such women and such youth who have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic to be able to start new businesses, gain new employment, grow businesses that have suffered severely from the pandemic and such. And doing this would no doubt then translate into several billions of Ghanaian cedis that would add to the growth of our economy. No doubt, in doing this, in pursuing such innovations to try to support women and youth that have been impacted severely by the pandemic, technology is going to play a key role. The ongoing pandemic has shown that businesses that do not embrace technology are soon becoming extinct if they haven't become at all. And the pandemic has also provided opportunities for more online forms of businesses, working from home arrangements, online payment platforms, and other innovative financial service solutions to come on stream. That also presents a huge opportunity to be able to help the women and the youth to be able to get back into mainstream business. So on this note, it is within this background that I find that the Standard Chartered Women in Technology Business Incubator Program in partnership with Ashesi University couldn't have come at really a better time. It is important that this program is supported so that it in turn provides the necessary support for women that would need to develop their new ideas, their new business ideas, test them, grow them into viable intergenerational businesses with the help of technology. I personally know Madame Ruka Sanusi, who runs the Ashesi Ghana Climate Innovation Center, having worked with her on a project while doing her PwC days. And I know that she's very passionate about helping SMEs with business management solutions and strong corporate governance support. And so I have no doubts that women who are going to be part of this program are not only going to get access to technology to be able to test and launch and grow their ideas, but they're also going to get cutting edge solutions in business management and sound corporate governance. So this makes me extremely happy. This is going to be important to help women-owned and led businesses de-risk so that they become more attractive to banks, to venture capital funds, and other financial institutions who traditionally tend to shy away from small businesses and women-led businesses. But this is going to be very important so that it is not only Standard Chartered, hopefully that will be also supporting on the financial side, but it would even make them attractive to many other financial institutions going forward. By this initiative, Standard Chartered is helping to bridge the gap in financing for women-owned businesses, and is therefore helping to promote more inclusive economic growth and impact in Ghana. The policy and regulatory environment at this time is supportive of such an initiative. The Government of Ghana's National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy seeks to close Ghana's gender gap in access to finance by 2023. And so, the Government of Ghana, through its implementing agencies, including the Bank of Ghana, is making a lot of effort to ensure that the enabling environment is created for financial institutions such as Standard Chartered and others to provide more access to finance for women-owned and women-led businesses. As a regulator, the Bank of Ghana has over the years introduced regulation to support an ecosystem that supports banks to be able to partner with electronic money issuers or mobile money operators, fintechs, and others to promote the rollout of innovative and convenient payment and financial services and products to support businesses, in particular, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. As I said, if women owned and led businesses are not intentionally prioritized, financial services tend to be blind and neutral and somehow do not work for women-owned businesses. So it is important that in taking advantage of the policy and regulatory environment that is supportive of providing more access to finance for women and indeed all excluded groups. There's some intentionality in designing very specific programs that would help to make this possible. And I believe that the WIT Incubator Program is one such intentional program that Standard Chartered is coming up with to help to address very specific issues that women face in launching not only tech-related businesses, but businesses more generally, because like I said, businesses are not going to be able to operate without all the necessary investments in technology. The Bank of Ghana has developed a measuring tool that is going to be from January 2021, be collecting data from all financial institutions that it regulates on a sex disaggregated basis, so that for every product, for every service that banks and other financial institutions provide, we want to know how much of it is going to women-owned businesses, how much of it is going to youth owned and led businesses, how much of this is going to male owned or led businesses. That helps us understand at closer range what disparities there continue to be in the ecosystem for finance, and then allows us to come up with more targeted policy and regulation to help broaden access to finance for all. So again, research shows that when banks and other players decide intentionally to provide access to women-led businesses, women-owned businesses, this translates into more profitability in these businesses, more tax revenues to government, and really many other side benefits to the entire economy. And so we strongly support this initiative. At the Bank of Ghana, we're also pleased to note that this initiative by Standard Chartered Bank is really operationalizing the sustainable banking principles that Standard Chartered and all the commercial banks in Ghana have signed on to. This was launched in November 2020, in part by the Bank of Ghana in partnership with the Ghana Association of Bankers and the Environmental Protection Agency. Principles 4 and 5 of these principles speak to the promotion of gender equality and financial inclusion in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals. It is our hope that as banks like Standard Chartered continue to implement these principles, which they have adopted themselves, they will be leaders in promoting the whole environmental, social governance principles in Ghana to promote more inclusive growth and development for our nation and to harness more productivity and economic growth for all. Madam Chair, management and staff of Standard Chartered Bank, I would like to congratulate you again on this outstanding initiative and for showing great leadership in advancing the goals that you have all signed onto under the Sustainable Banking Principles. I congratulate Ashesi University as well for this partnership with Standard Chartered Bank. It is strategic partnerships of this nature that are needed to help rethink and find lasting and innovative solutions to Ghana's developmental challenges. I hereby, on this note, declare the Standard Chartered Bank and Ashesi University Women in Technology Business Incubator Program duly launched, and I wish it every success. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Elsie Ado-Awaji, our second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, for that keynote address. It was an amazing time, and thank you for being with us as well. As I've mentioned earlier, we are currently running in countries like Nigeria, Pakistan, Zambia, the UAE, just to mention a few. And we've been running this for the past 6 years. Today, I am very pleased to have on the Zoom call a WIT alumni from Nigeria. She's in the person of Omozino Igwe. She's the Chief Executive of Udemy Services Limited. Omozino, Are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. It's so nice to be here.
It's so nice to see you as
So
well.
excited to be here.
Great, great, great. I would like to pick your thoughts on your experience on being on the WIT for Nigeria. How did you
Yes.
first hear about WIT?
Yeah, so very interesting story. My friend pretty much nudged me to apply. I remember applying on the 31st of August. Because I was like, yeah, this is another acceleration program, and who knows, I might not be accepted. So I wasn't very confident at the time, but she was like, apply, you can do this. Like, your idea is great. What you're working on is so great. You have to do it. So I applied, and a week after, I got invited for interview. I was like, okay, what did I write? What did I write? What did I say? And so that's how I got into the WITI program. We did the interviews, and we got invited, and I was so excited because I was at an interesting point at the time in my startup journey.
Awesome. That is such great news to hear. Thank God for friends like who she is. Now, tell me about the actual process of going through the incubator sessions. Tell me about the application. Tell me about the interview itself. Tell me about what they expected of you also.
Okay, awesome. So when we're invited for interview, they pretty much asked me to talk about myself, talk about the business, talk about the process, the journey, the solution that we're providing or we were hoping to provide at the time, and talk about our journey, what success we have achieved and what our aspirations were. So it was very direct, it was very upfront, and in 15 minutes, I was done. So they asked me some more questions and I answered, and it was very direct, straight to the point.
Straight to the point, direct. In 15 minutes, you had laid down your plan and given them the answers they require. Now tell me, after being on the program, going through the incubation system, and getting the funding, what is the difference that you are seeing in your business today? Also, tell me a bit more about your business as well.
Okay, so that's great. So name of my business is Udemy, and basically what we do as Udemy is that we blend behavioral psychology and machine learning to help people and organizations make informed decisions, particularly in the area of talent mismatch. So simply put, we help people and organizations make the best career and hiring decisions in less time and over 97% accuracy with our algorithms. Yeah. So before now, post-WITI and pre-WITI. So pre-WITI, I was a solo founder. I didn't have any corporate governance. I had one staff, and the staff wasn't performing well. So I had to, at the beginning of the program, I let the person go, and I just immersed myself in the program. By December, January of the program, I had begun to lay out structures. I was able to communicate clearly what our value proposition was. I was able to define a clear business model. The classes were so interesting. The facilitators were so great. And the co-learning experience with my peers, with the other women, the 9 other women on the program. And it was so amazing. So the first thing that happened, the first significant shift was that I moved from being a solo founder to having a management team. So we had corporate governance now. So I'm now much more accountable. There's a lot more structure in my business right now. The next thing that happened was before WITI, the product I had didn't deliver the best user experience because our algorithms were layered over Excel sheets. But now we have a full-blown product. We've been able to fully automate our processes. We're no more losing out on opportunities to scale because now we can handle the volume. Another thing that happened was our team grew. So right now we are about 9 people on the team. We have engineers, male, female. There's a bit of balance on our team. And it's always an exciting experience working with people. I changed a whole lot. I personally changed. My personality grew, I was able to take on responsibility. I wasn't afraid to take on decisions because I knew exactly where we're going and what we needed to do to get there. And another significant thing that happened was a change in our business model. Because of the nature of the classes that we're taking and the interactions that were going on within the program, we're able to move our business model from one-off sales point to subscription revenue sales point. So every month there's a flow. So it's not like, oh, this month you get paid, this month you don't get paid. And because we have now a proper product, a proper process delivery or product delivery, we're able to optimize our business model. And that's because of WITI. I have so many exciting experiences that I had.
I can tell.
During the WITI program. It was very exciting. It was very shifting for me. So I'm really glad I went through it.
Wonderful. Even from the way you speak, I clearly can see that you are in very good command of your business and the way it's going to go. I can only wish you the very best. Now, you know, we are streaming live on Facebook and we are on Zoom as well. For anyone who has just joined, give them one very good reason, very concise reason why they shouldn't sit on the fence, but join the SC WIT incubator.
Awesome. So, you know, you're at that point, you know where you are in your business, you know where you are with your idea. Clarity is so much important. And many times you cannot achieve clarity by yourself. You have to be in the right place with the right people, with people who can hold your hands. It's not just getting that one-off advice from a mentor or a coach, but having an accountability system is so important. And this is what the WITI program does for you. It takes you from product experimentation and doubting yourself to full-blown confidence and proper structures for your idea and business. It's your legacy. So take a chance on yourself.
And you've heard it all from Omozino. Take a chance for yourself. Just take the chance today. We've heard from our alumni in Nigeria. And now I would want you to sit back and watch a video from Kenya on the SC WIT program that went on there. Thank you.
Innovation is
in the Kenyan market.
One of the greatest things I appreciate about the incubation center is that our innovation is an assistive technology, and it's not an easy sell to innovation hubs or to spaces that want to see the business sense. And so getting a space that allows you to explore, to make mistakes, to come back. So the ecosystem at the incubation center really allowed us to meet other startups who have been in such a phase and have moved forward to a real product, real market, and essentially real impact and real money.
I've been able to gain more partners, I've been able to gain more customers, and this is simply by being able to understand what value they would like to gain from being a part of Nature's Board.
The entire program has been facilitated by both Stanchart and Strathmore. And this mixture of industry experts from Stanchart and of course experts within Strathmore have given us a wider variety or a wider set of opinions and ideas and more sounding boards for us.
What stood out most for me is I got to think of business as a very deliberate and systematic process. And the beauty about it is that at IBIS Africa, you have access to business coaches and mentors who will walk the journey with you.
When I got to the Women in Tech, I felt my business had so many dynamics that I couldn't figure out. And as I went through the program for 6 months, I was able to set the systems, and 6 months later, my business has a better structure.
Hi, my name is Sharon Degwa. I'm the founder and CEO of Nature's Bowl. Welcome to the Women in Tech program. Sign up and join. My name is Joyce Kibe, founder and CEO of Green Innovation Ventures Enterprises Limited. Welcome to Women in Tech program. Just go out there, and do your thing. You just never know where it will land you, and all the best.
Be brave, just go for it. A lot of people don't apply because they don't think they're good enough or they're a little bit nervous. I just say go for it and apply. Like, you don't know how it's going to go until you try. My name is Carrie, co-founder of Atabantu. Welcome to Women in Tech.
It's a really fantastic endeavor. If you are a woman in technology with a startup, I would say definitely join it. You'll get a lot more than money out of it.
My name is Rhoda Kingori, co-founder of ZD. Welcome to the Women in Tech program.
My name is Nancy Orimo. I'm the co-founder of Anisan, and I would like to welcome to the Women in Tech program. It's a fun place. You will learn a lot. So I'm welcoming you to the Women in Tech program.
My name is Now Monari, founder of Benacare. Welcome to Women in Tech program.
My name is Nzazi Kiti, the founder of Chesterfield Company Limited, behind the brand Chibundiro. I want to welcome all of you to the Women in Tech. Thank you.
My name is Nancy Wage, co-founder of Lugha Ishara. Welcome to the Women in Tech program.
Wasn't that such an amazing video to watch? We've heard amazing testimonials from these women about how the SC-WID incubator has improved their lives and their businesses. In the words of Omozino, take a chance on yourself. Today is the day to apply to grow your business with technology with the SC-WID in collaboration with GCIC. Now, the first part of the program is over. We've done an hour so far. It's been amazing. I would like to move on to the next part of the program. That's the second segment. Don't forget, we are live on Facebook and Zoom. And if you've missed anything, you wouldn't want to miss the second part of this program. We are going into our panel discussion. And to moderate that, we have Mrs. Mansanetti, the Chief Executive of Standard Chartered Bank, to do that for us.
Thank you, Wei.
Thank you.
It's been an interesting session so far, and Ebenezer, I'm not rubbing it in, but yes, we have quite an amazing panel of distinguished ladies, our chairperson being an accomplished legal luminary who has made a huge impact with her work as a human rights advocate. And then we have our dear second deputy governor, who's the second woman governor in the history of the central bank. So quite an amazing, group of women. And now we have an all-women panel. Hello, ladies, and thank you for joining us again this afternoon. I will start by asking each one of you to introduce yourselves. And maybe I'll start with Olga.
Thank you, Mansa. And really, really super happy to be part of this, Mansa, as you're aware, and the team. This is a program that's really close to my heart. Even as I am currently the regional head of corporate affairs, brand and marketing, my background is actually electronics engineering, and I majored in robotics. And this was a while back. So while it's taken a while, for us to catch up as women, I'm really, really hoping that this program will really make sure that we have a lot more of the Omozinos out there, utilizing technology to really grow and expand their businesses. Thank you.
Is Rosie on the line? Rosie? Thank you, Olga. Exciting background.
I'm here. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Great. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to all your distinguished guests, and good afternoon to my fellow panelists as well. My name is Rosie Finn. I'm the CEO of Busy Internet. I actually have a technology background. I'm a computer scientist. So I'm very excited about this initiative between Ashesi University and Standard Chartered. So it's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rosie, and glad to have you on. Ruka, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ruka Sanusi. I have the privilege and the responsibility of leading the team at the Ghana Climate Innovation Center. My background is in management consulting. So I've actually really been focused on providing business advisory services to public organizations, private corporations, and largely to women-owned and operated businesses, providing executive business coaching to entrepreneurs. We're very, very excited opportunity to partner with Standard Chartered to run this Women in Tech business incubator. I think it's really much needed, and we're looking forward to joining with you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ruka. So I will start by asking the first question. And Olga, given your background in engineering and robotics, impressive, and your passion for technology and its impact on business, why do we need to expand the role of technology in women-owned businesses?
Thanks, Mansa. I think we will all agree that the world is increasingly digital by design. And obviously, a lot of that digital element is driven by technology. I think Ebenezer clearly covered it when he said we've recognized the need for the utilization of more digital technology, if I may say that, especially now during the pandemic, which called for us to really make a change in the way we operated. So not just working, but I think more so businesses. The numbers that we see for women, and it's not just Ghana or Uganda or Africa for that matter, I think it's across the world, women tend to be out there in terms of being entrepreneurial and really thinking about businesses and how they can, succeed in that area. But more so when you look at it, a lot more women are not utilizing technology. And I think also just the enablers that have since been introduced to ensure that, with the businesses being operated in the technological space as well, I think the flattening of the curve, as our deputy governor just said, in terms of the financial inclusion, the technology that's enabled, whether it's through mobile wallets or the expansion and spread of smartphones. So I think women have it. It's already available. It's not something that they need to come out and really think too hard about. But I think in utilizing the available technology, we start to see that increase and growth in business. I think Omozino just said last year when she was coming to our program in Nigeria, it was just an idea. Now she's an employer of 9 people, without going to say, we know that, the need to have employment, especially, in continents such as ours, Africa, Ghana continues to see that issue with employment for youth. Imagine if we had a lot more of women utilizing technology, what more we would be able to do. And I think also for me, secondly, the piece, while I think we're now looking at it and talking about women having more space or an agenda within the national, I think technology and for women techpreneurs, it means the world becomes your oyster, very quickly. I have been following with keen interest, the Africa Free Continental Trade Area that was just announced. And I'm just trying to imagine how, the female Ghana techpreneurs really taking advantage of that as well. Supply chains are now running completely on technology. I don't think women need to worry or only focus about marketing their products, in Ghana. They can really now spread out into Africa and potentially the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. And I agree entirely. Women do have it. Ruka, over to you, the same question. Why do we need to expand the role of technology in women-owned businesses? Ruka?
I couldn't, okay. So, Mansa, my apologies. Could you just repeat the question? I heard that the last bit of it. Could you just repeat it, if you don't mind?
Okay. Why do we need to expand the role of technology in women-owned businesses?
Okay, thank you, Mamta. So I think we need to expand the role of technology in women's owned businesses because technology is an enabler. And, our world needs innovation. We need innovation as part of our economic development to create the transformation that we need as a nation, as an economy. And, for us at the Ghana Climate Innovation Center, being part of ASHESI, our mission really is to raise ethical entrepreneurial leaders that have the courage to transform the continent. And we will need innovation to do that. We will need technology to do that. Ghana has, I understand, the highest percentage of women entrepreneurs anywhere on the continent. And I even dispute and say that it's even globally. That means that these women, to scale their operations, to really grow, to really contribute to national economic development, they will need to apply innovation and technology, or technologically really based innovation. So it's important that women sort of like, they pivot quickly, and technology can be that thing that allows them to scale quickly, to pivot quickly. It is what they can use to leverage. And it is what we can use as a community of people in the private sector to contribute to national economic development, to job creation, and all the other positive external externalities that come from private enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruka. Rosie, the same question would go to you. Should I repeat the question, or you're fine?
No, it's fine. Thank you, Mansa. I think we've reached an era where for businesses, not just women-owned businesses, but businesses in general, to be able to compete effectively and scale, the adoption and efficient use of technology is now critical. So technology provides a cost-effective, simple and easy way to create awareness, generate leads, track performance, and essentially increase overall performance of any business. So if we think about it alongside the life cycle of any business, I'd like to just give a few examples of why it is so crucial that technology is made part and parcel of any business. Even before launching the business, there's a wealth of information that one can get online to help understand the market you're playing in, as well as the competitive landscape, which will then allow business owners to effectively position themselves in the right way to maximize their business potential. So that's the first thing. And once you've figured out how you want to position yourself as a business owner, the next step would be creating awareness, right? So that people know that your business actually exists. For an SME, the cost of traditional advertising, be it TV or radio, or even print, could be prohibitive. So using digital channels to promote a budding business therefore becomes a good way to go. Social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook can go a long way in allowing your business to reach well-targeted audiences. And that's more likely to increase the ability to convert these targets to actual users. And now these targets do not have to be Ghana-centric anymore. You now have the whole world as an opportunity for you to market your business to. And you're also able to track the perception of your product or service. So in Ghana today, it's estimated that about 20% of the population, that's about 6 million people, are active on social media. And they spend about an average of 3 hours a day on their social media accounts. That's a huge market opportunity right there that can help anyone scale their business exponentially. And as you think about the life cycle as an entrepreneur, operational efficiency is absolutely critical. And that's one of the things that can actually make or break a business in their early tenure. So how you track your leads, for example, how you track your orders, your financial accounting, a lot of attention has to be paid here. And technology can be very helpful in this regard. So I remember, a lady who sells provisions down the street from my house, just regular things like Milo and milk, stuff like that. And up until a few months ago, she actually recorded all of her sales in one of those foolscap notebooks. And she did all of her tallying manually. So her son, who's in senior secondary school, actually came home for a long term because of the COVID lockdown period. And all he did was he downloaded an app on his smartphone that allowed them to do stock and inventory management and record sales. And the increase in operational efficiency has been amazing for this small shop, right? All of a sudden, they know ahead of time when they're running out of stock. They have a run rate clearly defined to know which items are selling fastest. And even if she has products that are not going as fast as she would like, she's able to do small promos on them to push them. So just by going digital, she now has access to all of this insight that is helping her push her product and push her company much more aggressively and giving her a chance to be more efficient and successful. And Omozino actually mentioned it when she was speaking. She's now grown her team from 1 to 9 people. So now tools like Slack or Zoom become very key to allow her to interact and collaborate better with her team, to communicate and interact in a way that makes it much simpler, especially in this COVID-19 era where a lot of in-person interaction is not happening. Technology becomes key, right? And lastly, if we think about management of customer experience, the ability to get quick feedback on your product or services, track your customer interactions. These things are all easily done or easier done with the use of technology. So these are some examples that show that for women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs as a whole to be successful, the use of technology is not really a nice to have anymore. We've reached a point where it's an absolute necessity in today's digital world.
Thank you, Rosie, for sharing those very practical examples. And just don't go on mute yet. This question goes to you. I think COVID has helped, and you have acknowledged that. But how can Ghana demystify technology and encourage its adoption by these women-owned businesses?
Thank you. And this is a very important question you're asking, because I still believe that there are social and cultural factors here in Ghana that has impeded the adoption of technology. One way to highlight the discrepancy between adoption when it comes to men and women, if we look at the split of Facebook, right? So out of the total Facebook users in Ghana of over 5 million, only 36% are female. And we know the population split between male and female is almost 50%. It's 50% essentially in Ghana. Yeah, you have only 36% using the most popular social media tool. Literacy rate is one of the contributing factors to this phenomenon. We have a 10% drop for women when it comes to literacy when compared to men. We also have this age-old perception that technology fields are for men. And I would be the first to say that a lot of work has gone into fixing this perception over the years, but we still have some work to do. So to demystify and encourage more women to use technology, I think there are a few things that can be done. One of the key would be creating more awareness about the various technologies available that can help them enhance their business, and then actually educating them on how to do it. We need more information available to women about technology with more practical real-life examples to help them connect. There are all of these courses online that we can get these women to take on, which will give them very important metrics on why technology will help them accelerate the growth in their business. So that's one thing, really awareness creation and education. Something that I believe the Backman from Ashesi alluded to. I think a lot of the conversations around technology are still skewed towards men. Women are quite underrepresented in these conversations. So if I, as a woman, I'm interested in learning more about technology and how it would help me enhance my business, and all the content I see, all the panels I listen to are more male-dominated, I might begin to think that these technologies are not for me. So we need more female representation and more role models who can share their success stories and inspire others. And they're there. There are a plethora of them. They're engineers, computer scientists, tech entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things. So we just need to see more of them to get a lot more women confident to know that, look, this is something that's for them, and adopting technology is something that would really be able to help them push their businesses. And lastly, I think building support systems specifically for women-owned businesses is absolutely essential. And I think that's what today is all about. This initiative we're launching today, the Women in Tech program, that's key to providing women business owners the tools they need to be successful. I envision in a few short years, you would have nurtured and trained a number of women and giving them the ingredients they need to grow their businesses. And these ingredients would include, effective use of technology, proper financial management, etc. They in turn will be able to do the same for other female business owners within the Women in Tech family and beyond, and sharing their knowledge and passing on these experiences. So congratulations for this initiative, because I think in demystifying and really pushing adoption of technology, such an initiative is going to go a long way in making that possible.
Thank you, Rosie. No, we are very passionate about this initiative, and we see the importance of launching it. Ruka, this goes to you. And I think the Deputy Governor mentioned in her very insightful speech, Ghana is recognized as one of the countries with the highest number of female entrepreneurs. What are the barriers these female entrepreneurs face daily? And how can technology and innovation be used to eliminate these barriers?
Okay, thank you, Mansa. I think key amongst the barriers that women entrepreneurs face is actually access to finance. And the link with technology there is actually quite diverse. We've been working with the World Bank for the last 4 years, actually supporting entrepreneurs all over Ghana, including women entrepreneurs. And we actually devised a specific women entrepreneurs transformation program, a bespoke program to support women entrepreneurs, not only with aspects of what is access to finance or running a business, but with to address some of the socio-cultural nuances that can actually impede their decision-making and how they operate and how they manage their business. Now, where technology comes in there is that, we can use technology in a way that it allows us to make decisions, right? So in terms of access to finance, what are the banks using to be able to determine whether somebody is credit worthy or not, right? Are they using, is it one size fits all? Is it the same tools, systems and processes that they use to assess a medium-sized enterprise? Is that the same tool that they use to assess a small-sized enterprise? Are they using the same tools to assess the creditworthiness or the books of a woman-owned enterprise, an enterprise that's also owned by a man? These things matter because empirical data shows that, for instance, for every dollar that a man makes, a male-owned business owns, makes in business, a male-owned enterprise makes in business, a woman will make, I think it's like 66 cents, right? So because we don't have ready access to finance, I think a lot of the time, the businesses that women entrepreneurs run, some of them are lifestyle businesses, right? And they're not what we call soft businesses. And they go before maybe a venture capitalist, they go before a bank, and the people who are assessing them do not really, they don't understand the nuances and the essence, of their brand. So this limits their access to finance, and this slows down their ability to really scale as an enterprise. So I feel that access to finance, maybe new models of assessment that takes into consideration not just your financial management, not just even issues of corporate governance, but really seeks to understand enterprise by enterprise. I know it's a lot more work for the banks, but that's what it takes. In Nigeria, there's a Bank of Industries, and they're doing amazing things with SMEs generally, and really, they've become almost like specialized when it comes to SMEs. But it took years and years and years to do that. We need to do the same thing and genderize it. Other barriers really are some of our sociocultural nuances. It's women are, there's that issue of work and life, and that balance. This cannot, we cannot overstate this, because you're wearing so many hats and you're having to manage all of those hats. And women, we also want to self-actualize. So we don't just want to self-actualize at home. We want to self-actualize at work and in our business. And these things also, there are models that you can use in assessing the viability of a business that takes into consideration the whole, the issues that affect the whole owner. Somebody could be very, 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 very capable, but perhaps in terms of their work and life balance, it could lead to negative health externalities, right? Yes, they could bring in, somebody else to support them, but I do think the barriers are many, but it's almost been like a one size fits all, assess every enterprise, the same way. No individual is the same. We may be the same age and the same gender. If we went to the doctor, because of our lifestyles, what we eat, whether we exercise or not, our genetic footprint, it means that we're completely different people. So my doctor will not prescribe for me maybe the same age and all of the demographics that I just explained, but we'll need a different prescription. As far as it's possible, I think we need to genderize some of the technology that we use to assess liabilities of businesses, and genderize some of these things. It's been done in other jurisdictions, and I think we can also start to do that in Ghana, in West Africa, and generally across the continent.
Yeah, Ruka, thank you. And I think really great points. I think that we as a bank in Standard Chartered, you've mentioned that in some of our markets, we're using machine learning and analytics to better understand, some of these clients and use, using credit scoring and understanding their pattern of need. So it's something that we'll be introducing in our markets very soon, but interesting insights. And Rosie, this is to you. Olga, don't feel left out. I'll come to you shortly. This goes to Rosie. How would you assess the current adoption of technology amongst SMEs, particularly obviously in women-led businesses?
Well, I think I alluded to that a little bit when I was talking about demystifying. I think the current adoption, we've seen quite a bit of some acceleration over the last couple of years. There's a number of things that have happened, a lot of focus, especially as we think about the SDGs when it comes to gender equality, etc. A lot of focus in increasing the pace at which women adopt technology for their businesses, but even going further to even focus on adoption of technology by women as early as in school-going age. So for example, if you look in Ghana, the Ministry of Communication has a Girls in ICT program that's focused on pushing adoption of ICT at a much earlier age. This is at the primary school and junior high school level. So there's a lot of work that's going into pushing this agenda and getting people, women specifically, to understand the various technologies that are available and to get them interested in it. And I think it's so key that it happens at a much earlier age, because to be able to compete globally, ICT adoption, technology adoption needs to be considered like math and English in school. It's no longer one of those things that is seen as a class you take when you've reached class 6 or JSS, or a class you take just once a month or so, you get an understanding of the computer, what a computer looks like. You're competing with kids from China and the US who started playing with computers when they were 3 or 4 years old, right? You can't now be seeing a computer for the first time when you are in junior high school. So there's a lot of work that we're doing, and that needs to go into getting our youth and women specifically to adopt at a much earlier age. And even though all of this is going on, I must say, like I mentioned with the example of Facebook, and the statistics are the same if you think about social media adoption with Twitter and Instagram, you still have only about a third of the users being women versus men, right? So there's still quite a bit of a gap. So we do have our work cut out for us. And it requires, some policy, regulatory changes, but also, like we're saying, a lot of these initiatives. There are a number of incubators that have come up that normally would be focused on startups in general. And what I like about this one specifically is that you're focusing on women-led businesses. And that's where the difference is. I think Ruka mentioned that you need to have some of these ideas and focuses be targeted directly at women and not take the more generic approach of saying, okay, we want all startups to succeed. We need things that are more specific and peculiar for the needs of women. And so I think we are well on our way. There's still quite a bit of work to be done, but it's a point at which I'm quite optimistic because of all of the initiatives that are currently going on.
Yeah, thank you, Rosie, and thanks to the support of Olga. We are now introducing this in Ghana, specific to women. So Olga, this Women in Technology has been set up in a number of different markets across our footprints, including Kenya. I think we mentioned it, Nigeria, Pakistan, Zambia. What are the key insights you would like to share from these markets with regards to the adoption of technology by women or women-owned businesses?
Thanks, Mansa. So I think everybody keeps saying hindsight is a great teacher, and looking back, I think the past 6 years from when we launched it in New York, passported the idea to Kenya Fest in 2017, which is actually 3 years back. It's a program whose time had come, and I always say I wish we had launched it a lot earlier. But indeed, the day starts, when you wake up. So we now have, as you've said, an additional 7 programs across Africa, with Ghana coming in. We recently introduced in Bahrain and Zambia. And a key insight for us this year, again, around the pandemic, and we picked this from Pakistan, was that our program used to be one that was domiciled, and you had to come to the partner or the institution, or at times had to come to Standard Chartered for some of your mentorship. But obviously, with the restrictions that we had with the various lockdowns, obviously where it impacted on mobility, in Pakistan, we experimented with our partner there, Innovate Lab, and they said, why can't we do this program utilizing technology? And it's interesting that, as we are saying today, that not many women are using this, but a lot of the women were very quickly and adaptable to being in a forum and utilizing, whether it was Blue Jeans, utilizing Zoom, or whatever of the tools that we had in terms of engaging and being able to see the rest. A lot of them have appreciated us this year in terms of saying they've been able to maybe have a better work-life balance when the program is run digitally, as opposed to them having, to navigate traffic previously, coming back home to balance some of those things that, as women, we would need to handle back home, which was quite interesting. And indeed, we are now looking to expand and scale the program into some of our other key markets, which would be Singapore, Hong Kong, and Korea very early in the new year, which is very encouraging for us. I think the other key insight that I see as well from the programs is that they differentiate a little bit. So the good thing was that we did not lack entries. Initially, I was worried when we were putting up our hands and saying, hey, we want, female-led businesses. We had put in some conditionalities that while you were female-led, you could bring in other people into the team, and a lot of the women typically brought in, the male counterparts who did the technology aspects of their business, whether it was operations or managing, as Rosie has been saying, their social media pages, etc. We have become a little bit bullish this year, where we've said, no, we need a lot more of the women getting into that space. While it's great to have the dependency on the counterparts, but we felt that, if they themselves got hands-on with, developing apps, we like Omozino doing it, doing the machine learning and the robotics using big data, etc., then I think it really does bring richness to both the women and their businesses. But I see it a little bit differently. While in the Pakistan, and which mirrors a little bit quite closely to Kenya, the women would have been probably a little bit shy coming through. We would have had about 100 applicants in the first programs. The second cohort has gone up to between 300 to 500. But we saw in Nigeria, especially launching our second cohort, which was about 2 weeks ago, we had over 1,000 applicants coming through, super ideas. So it's great, and I really hope that, you know, we can get some of that bullishness that we saw in Nigeria into really encouraging a lot more of the female-led, you know, techpreneurs really coming through and putting up their hands. I think women tend to be shy, and we're hoping really that with this program, we're able to address that. You know, any idea whose time has come, we're really interested in listening to it. As Omozino said, you're not taken through a whole long convoluted process. It's typically a conversation that lasts, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. We ask you to just give, you know, a 500 page, I wish it was 500 word summary when you're coming through. And from there, we're really able to, you know, assess and just see some of those ideas in terms of what we would like to go through the incubation. We found, I think, the biggest piece outside of, you know, the ideas that the females are coming up with, and I think it's been mentioned severally, was just this element that we come in from a seed funding. So while we have 10 to 12 people who would go through the program, we do award, you know, the top 5 winners, typically across the other markets, about $10,000 each. And each of those entrepreneurs have really found that seed funding to be very, very helpful in terms of them getting to, you know, refine certain aspects of the business plan that they would have needed to through the incubation program. And indeed, through that, have actually used that to then go get much more, you know, funding. We've had partners coming in like MasterCard and Uber and injecting between 200 to 400,000 in some of these startups. So it's really encouraging to see that, you know, from a $10,000 seed capital, what these female-led entrepreneurs are really, really able to do. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that really those are some of those insights we can utilize in Ghana. I can see a lot of parallels and would really like to encourage a lot of those young females sitting back, shy or worried. Please put up your hand, apply for the program, and let's see how this will go.
Thank you, Olga. And with this question, actually, the Deputy Governor and myself have talked about this quite a bit, and I'm sure this question will be music to her ears. So why is it important for Standard Chartered to support women-owned businesses? And, you know, what is the impact which has seen on the other economies that, you know, you introduced with in the various markets?
Thanks, Mansa. I think, yeah, a great question as well. While we haven't really gone in to really assess it fully, the program is still young. Again, as we've said, especially in Africa, this would be our 3rd year from when we had launched in 2017. But I think a strong parallel that we see across the board, and I think Ebenezer touched on it, a lot of women tend to come up with ideas to solve social issues, which is great. Because if you're able to solve a social issue, it means that the amplification or being able to spread it across various communities becomes very easy and quick. And this is really aligned, you know, to the bank's values. Mansa, you mentioned our Future Makers programs, but really very much our brand promise of being here for good. Again, as we've said, it's not that the women are not starting businesses. The women are starting businesses. For us, it was important that we supported the businesses to be much more technology driven. Again, as I'd mentioned earlier, that whole digital aspect that allows them to have scale and really make sure, you know, that their ideas are put paid. We were comparing this previously where people said, you know, most businesses would likely fail in their first year, you know, if they really didn't get the support that they needed. And I'm pleased to say that the almost $500,000 that we've injected into this program so far, all our incubators are doing very, very well. In fact, dare I say some of them, you know, using Nigeria as example, Kenya example, are doing exceptionally well. So our interest again in this program is, we believe that if we do a lot more, you know, or for the women, and again, really pushing through, as we said, the whole STEM element, ensuring that the women are getting to understand how they can utilize, you know, technology, which, as we said, digital is increasingly becoming ubiquitous. Luckily, it is increasingly becoming cheaper as well across the continent. Then not only are we lifting, you know, the base of what it is happening socially, we maybe get to address a lot more of those social issues that we've been experiencing across the continent that much, a little bit quicker. We are happy as well, as we said, that there's a lot more partners, you know, who are jumping on board to really find a way to work with us. And I think with that as well, we make sure that the program gets known a little bit more. We've seen quite a number of governments coming through as well, asking a little bit more how we can do this better. And actually, we're pleased now to say that our Women in Tech incubator is the leading incubator in Africa. And we're hoping that we can really, really scale this program to be that much bigger. Thank you.
Sounds exciting, Olga. Ladies, did you hear that? You know, the WITS is Africa's best incubator, and then you get seed funding of 5,000 as well. So please, please, please do apply. Finally, this question goes to both Rosie and Ruka. I can start with Rosie. What role are our institutions playing in supporting women-led businesses and applying technology in their operations?
Sure. So as a woman leading a technology company and someone who's got a technology background, I'm really very passionate about, you know, pushing and supporting women-led businesses, especially when it comes to their applying technology. So I actually spend a lot of time mentoring a lot of young women in the fields of STEM along their career journey. So that's one of the things I've been doing over the last couple of years. And you realize that, you know, just sometimes it's providing them with little nuggets of knowledge and awareness that can make a huge difference to them being able to take their business from wherever it is to the next level. I also alluded to the Girls in ICT program, which was launched by the Ministry of Communications. And through that, I also mentor a lot of, you know, young girls in the primary and junior high school, where we've started training them on the fundamentals of ICT. Because as I mentioned, before they even get to the point where they're business leaders and are thinking about applying technology, they should have been introduced to technology at a much earlier point in their lives. And that's one of the things that I think will be a real barrier breaker for us in terms of the adoption of technology. And if we think about it from my institution, from a busy internet perspective, I think, Mansa, you mentioned the fact that women lack access to the internet. This is one of the major barriers for a lot of women-owned businesses. And one of the things we're currently doing is working on a project to provide Wi-Fi to senior high schools and essentially to various communities that do not have access to internet today. So with all of the senior high schools getting Wi-Fi, one of the things they become is a hub for the community, especially in our rural areas where people can go and connect their phones and have access to the internet. So this is one way we're helping to bridge the digital divide. And once this is done, we at Busy have a number of CSR initiatives planned to support some of these institutions with IT training throughout the year. So we have a number of senior women in the engineering and IT teams who will be spending time in the various communities, not just with the students at those communities, but with women in those communities as well, who are doing all sorts of businesses and trying to help them understand how technology can be utilized to help them grow their businesses. So that's one of the major initiatives we have planned for 2021 that I'm excited about. I mean, the statistics are very clear. We know that only about 15% of startups are able to survive beyond the 5-year mark. And this is all startups. And if you look at the rate of success for women-owned startups, it's actually even slightly worse than this 15% number. So as we've been saying today, a lot of work has to go into bringing women up and providing them with the tools and technologies that they would need to really be able to accelerate. And it's, like I've been saying, it's exciting that we have this program that will help us do that. Because I really do believe that the next wave of growth and innovation will be driven by women. And if we don't give them the support necessary, we are going to have a gap when it comes to really what we need as what we need for social and economic development in Ghana.
So true, and we all have a role to play in this. So Ruka, do I have to repeat the question?
No, I think I can answer. I think Rosie is just, you know, she's adequately articulated what a number of institutions are doing to, you know, ensure that, to bridge that digital divide, essentially. And even in our own work, one of the things that we found is that our BEAST program for women entrepreneurs whether we're talking to national institutions, African institutions, whether it's the World Bank, Global Affairs, Visa International, whoever it is, there's a unique interest in the work of women entrepreneurs, and there's a commitment actually across governments, across the philanthropic sector, to ensure that there is diversity and inclusion, including women, but also ensuring that women are active participants in this drive to have innovation for transformation, and innovation that also uses technology. But Mansa, if I may, I just want to twist this question a little bit and just respond futuristically. If you think about it, in 2020, 2030, Ghana's population is projected to be around 50 to 60 million. So that population increase will have implications for a number of things, whether that's agriculture and our food security or lack of food security. It will have implications for urbanization. It will have implications for waste management. It will have implications for housing. It will have implications for health systems. It will have implications for education. It will have implications for our energy use, what kind of energy we're using. Are we using renewable energy? It will have implications for how we choose to fuel our cars, and a whole host of other really critical things. The important thing there is, how do we use technology? How do we use innovation, right, to propel our nation's growth? And how do we ensure that there's diversity of thought, right, in all of our interventions? How do we ensure that women are also included in, through their businesses, through their intellectual capital, through the technology that they, and innovation that they create, that they're included in planning that transformation path, that growth path? It starts with programs like this, because I was listening to a program on the BBC recently where, I forget what it's called now, but they normally just have two women from different parts of the world who are facing the same issues, and they interview them. So they had two architects on. One was from, I think, Malawi, the other one was from the United States. And the lady from Malawi was saying now, even in terms of COVID, right, and the green economy, it's changing how people are designing buildings, right? With COVID, you want to have minimal touch, but also it's got to be affordable. And I think when we think about what we want Ghana to be in the future, in 5, 10, 15 years' time, there's got to be diversity and inclusion. It's got to be diversity in terms of gender, diversity and inclusion in terms of innovation, because the innovations are different when men are the ones designing them and women are the ones designing them. We need both. We don't need either or. We need both. So I really want to just I wanted to just twist that question around and recognize that many institutions globally, nationally, across the African continent, have a renewed interest in women, have a renewed interest in women entrepreneurs, have a renewed interest in ensuring gender parity. But going forward, how can we use that we should use that renewed interest to ensure that in planning our future economies, our future societies, that we're leveraging the intellectual capital, the innovation of women to ensure that we have a balanced society, a society that serves the needs of all of us. And I think that's something that really, I can't talk enough about, because I see it as key.
Thank you, Ruka. I mean, I think everybody now can see the benefits of diversity and inclusion and what it does, for society as a whole. But ladies, thank you very much for your very, very insightful contributions and comments. It's been really a delight to be the moderator of this event. I will now hand over to Wei. Thank you, ladies. Excellent contributions.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mansa Nete, Chief Executive of Standard Chartered Bank, for moderating this session. It was very informative. We've learned a lot. The audience, I'm sure, who are streaming live on Facebook and on Zoom have learned tremendously from the panelists. I'll just go through their names again. So we had Olga Arara Kimani, who is the regional head for corporate affairs, brands and marketing for Africa and the Middle East, Standard Chartered. We had Rosie Finn, who is the chief executive officer for Busy Ghana. And finally, we had Ruka Sanusi, who is the executive director for the Ghana Climate Innovative Center, GCSI. We are grateful for your time and for the discussions. We have had an amazing 2 hours already. We are drawing a close to this virtual launch of the Standard Chartered Women in Technology Incubator Program. I am honored to announce to you that we'll have our chairperson, but let me tell you a bit about her. She was elected an inaugural judge of the ICC at the inception of the court in 2003, serving as a judge and the first vice president from 2003 to 2009. She also served as a judge of the appeals division of the court from 2009 to March 2015. She has been the recipient of numerous awards and accolades, including the Order of the Star of Ghana, the highest award conferred by the government of the Republic of Ghana on an individual. She is no other person but our very own independent non-executive director of Standard Chartered Bank Ghana, in the person of Her Excellency, Judge Professor Mrs. Ikea Kwenyehia, who is our chairperson and will be giving us her closing remarks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you for that introduction. To give the closing remarks to such an amazing meeting is really a big responsibility. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
There is so much that has gone on in the last 2 hours. I feel that it is a big responsibility to be asked to give the closing remarks. I have learned so much myself, and I'm sure all of us have learned so much. It's really difficult to know what to say, but everything has been said. How can I summarize such an amazing process? Because it has been an amazing process for us. Technology, I have now realized after this 2 hours, that it's bigger than I ever thought of it. We need technology to be able to develop, to maintain our sustainability, to realize our SDGs, everything. Technology is key. And for Stanchart and Assechi University to launch this program, which targets women-led and women-owned businesses, is really something to be applauded. Obviously, we all realize that, as I heard, Ghana has the largest number of women entrepreneurs in West Africa, if not in Africa, which means that the more technology these women utilize in their jobs, the more our economy will develop, the more we will be able to develop as a nation, the more we'll be able to develop our education, health system, what have you, because there is no part of the economy that will escape development if we encourage more women to adopt technology in their businesses. I was really touched by the story that Rosie told about the lady with the provisions shop whose son downloaded a simple app for her, which improved tremendously her work and relieved her of a lot of mundane things that she used to do. I believe that this is what needs to happen throughout Ghana and throughout Africa. we need to encourage women to be able to adopt technology at their level. They don't have to adopt anything which is higher than them. At their level, to be able to do their businesses more efficiently, to be able to deliver their results more efficiently and at a cost-effective level. And I believe that so much has been said about the support system for women-led and women-owned businesses, which this program aims to provide. That support system is very, very important, because with the support system, anybody can be trained. I believe that technology is not rocket science. Everybody can be trained to adopt technology. When I first heard of Zoom, I said, what is Zoom? My children were saying, Mommy, Zoom is not rocket science. Everybody is using Zoom now. It shows you where I came from. But I realized that it didn't take much to be able to do Zoom meetings and to do things on Zoom. So every person, every individual, every woman is in a position to be trained to use technology at the level at which their jobs will be more efficient. And that is why I applaud Stanchart and Accession University, together with all the partners, in launching this program, because I believe that this program, if carried forward, if we encourage more women to apply, especially the younger ones, it is going to carry us, it is going to transform our society, it will transform our economy, and it will put us where we want to be and not at the bottom of the ladder. We really want to be part of the top of the ladder, and that is why we are launching this program. And I think this is a program where it should be the job of everybody to try and raise awareness among not just the women entrepreneurs, but the young ones who are coming, the students, even some of the older ones who have done their work in one way for so many years that they are set in their ways. I believe they can benefit from technology as part of their business. And I think that my takeaway is, in looking at when Mansa asked about what are the obstacles that women entrepreneurs face, and the answer was the criteria, the one size fits all criteria that is used by those who provide the finance. I think individualized criteria would best meet the needs of women-led and women-owned businesses. And that is the way we should go. I believe that this, in 5 years, if we came back to assess what is happening, we would be amazed by the transformation that would have taken place. And I really look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our chairperson, Her Excellency, Judge Professor Mrs. Ikea Kwenye here, for formally launching the SC Women in Tech Incubator event. We are grateful for the remarks you gave. One thing stood out to me. You said that the best thing that we can all do is to spread the awareness. We have shared the criteria and the eligibility. If you're a woman and you own a business, you're an entrepreneur, this is for you. Sign up today, put in your application, be a part of the SC WIT Incubator. Don't be left out. Don't sit on the fence. Take a chance on yourself. I would like to acknowledge all the speakers we've had, starting from our chairperson. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor to invite you here. It's been an honor to speaking to you as well and hearing from you. Also, thank you to our keynote speaker as well, in the person of Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji, the second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. It was a delight hearing from you as well. To Mrs. Mansanete, Standard Chartered Bank Chief Executive, we say thank you as well. To Olga Arara Kimani, who is the Regional Head for Corporate Affairs, Brands and Marketing, Africa and the Middle East. Without you, we would not be here today. To Rosie Finn, who is the Chief Executive Officer for Busy Ghana. We thank you for the insights during the panel discussion. To Ruka Sanusi, without you, we couldn't have been here. Thank you as well. You are the Executive Director for GCIC. And also to the only man who was on the panel today, Ebenezer Bachman. Thank you so much for being a rep for GCIC. We are grateful for your time. My name has been Way Adokwe. We've been streaming live on Facebook and Zoom. Make sure to watch the videos again. Make sure to apply. Invite as many people as possible to apply as well. Thank you for your time and have a good day.